All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Addictively Speaking podcast. I'm your host, James, and tonight my guest is Amanda Penny. And Amanda has been podcasting since she was 16 years old, has a very popular podcast of her own called Amanda's World, but she also has a story of her own that deals with addiction with a family member, her father, and we're going to talk about that tonight and how that all played out in her life. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for coming on the
Hi, thank
podcast.
you for having me on.
So tell everybody about yourself and
So,
yeah, just
hi, my name is Amanda Penny. I'm most known for running Amanda's World, the podcast. I started at age 16 with only no experience, and now I have over 20,000 listeners. But besides that, if you know me personally, you know that my family is a big drug and alcohol family. My dad had started drinking when I was born, and I've been dealing with it my whole life. I had to learn from a very, very young age what alcohol does to you. And I had to learn very quickly because of it. By second grade, I was learning all about the things that alcohol does to you and etc. In and out of therapy, etc. because of it. And yeah, I've seen what it does to you. And I learned from a super young age too, because I grew up in that environment till my mom and dad got divorced and I moved in with my grandma, obviously. But it's crazy to see what alcohol can do to you, especially from a family member's perspective who doesn't drink. So yeah.
So you never really knew your dad without alcohol in his life. You never experienced
Mm-mm.
him as a sober person.
Well, now I have. It's been 2 years since the last time he's drank. Yes, it's been 2 years since the last time he's drank. So now I know him as a regular person, but he's had a lot of health issues because of it, obviously. But beforehand,
Mm.
I never knew him as a sober person. The last time I found out he relapsed, he told me he's been sober, and then told me, "Oh, I relapsed actually," and lied straight to my face about being sober.
Hmm.
So
Is
that
that a
really
pattern that he's had in his life where he's lied about things
he
like
lies
that?
to me.
Or
I'm not calling out my dad here, but I don't think he's ever told me the truth. Never. He has a lot of health issues, so he'll be in and out of the hospital. I normally find out from Facebook instead of my father. Or his roommate will call me and be like, "Yo, have you heard from Paul? I think he's in the hospital." So yeah. I usually find out everything in his life on Facebook. He doesn't tell me anything. He hardly talks to me when I see him, hardly texts me, nothing. I have no relationship with him.
and this all started from a very young age. So
This started
he
from when I was born to now.
yeah, so when him and your mom split up, how old were you then?
I was in the 1st grade, so I think I was 6 or 5 at the time. I also have a little brother, and he was only 4 or 3 at the time. We're 2 years apart.
Wow. And he
So,
just
I
chose
remember
drinking
exactly
over his
how it
family.
happened. I remember exactly how this happened. I was at my grandmother's, and my mom came over with my dad came over, and my mom told me that they were splitting up. And now, mind you, when my mom
Mm.
and dad were together, I never saw him. He was always asleep or working. He was a nurse, but he's in the process of getting his license back. But, he was always sleeping, never awake. Holidays, he'd miss his opening presents because he overslept. We had one time where I was at my grandmother's, we had moved to my grandmother's, and we waited 2 hours for my dad to show up so we could open presents. He overslept. So, it just wasn't a healthy relationship with him.
Um, and once he left your mom,
Mhm.
did he try to have any type of relationship with you and your brother at all? Or did he just completely
So
just separate from you guys?
I used to have a relation when I was younger, I tried to keep a relationship with him, but I was so traumatized that it was very hard. When I used to spend the nights at his house, he wouldn't take care of us. We were on our own and we were super young. We had one time when we had to have our mom come pick us up. So I refused to spend the nights at his house, but he was kinda there as a parent. He didn't really do the whole parent thing when I used to be at his house. He'd be like, "Oh, go do whatever
Mm,
you want." You walk around the complex when he lived in a neighborhood. He wasn't really a solid parent like my mom was. Now
mm.
that he's sober, yes, he now he needs to be involved in everything. Now that he's sober, he'll like contact me. He's like, "Oh, what's going on with Amanda in school? This and that." Like he needs to be involved in my whole life now. But when he wasn't sober, he wanted nothing to do with my life.
Interesting. Do you feel like that's the alcohol made him not want to have anything to do with you, or do you feel like,
Well,
it was a
okay.
combination of himself,
So
his lifestyle, and the alcohol
he has
combined?
told me this was when he was not sober. When he wasn't sober, he had told me straight to my face one time that he never wanted a daughter. He wanted two sons. So that completely strained my relationship with him.
Ooh,
Completely strained my relationship with him until this day. I'm just like, he puts more effort into my brother than me.
wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough. I mean, did you go to any like counseling for any of these?
Yeah.
Like, because
I've been in
this seems like
counseling.
this is like a deep trauma, like,
Yeah,
to
I've
have
been
in
in
your life.
counseling because of him. I've been in counseling because of my father since age 6. My dad is, like, not a bad person. I just feel like, it's like from all the drinking now, he has a lot of side effects and stuff, like memory loss and stuff. It's just not the best relationship with him. He has a wonderful group of friends that I keep in touch with. His one
Mm,
friend is, works at the Drug and Alcohol Counseling Center in Huntington. I keep in touch with that man and his wife, and then my dad's sponsor and his wife I keep in touch with.
mhm.
But, like, I don't really have a relationship with my dad. I have oh my god, my aunt and uncle, they had, full like, guardianship, so when we went to go see my dad, they were our, like, legal guardians there. I'm very
Yeah.
close to my aunt and uncle. I adore them and love them. They're the sweetest people ever. But my, otherwise, that's the only people that I keep in touch with on my dad's side, and my cousins.
Okay.
We're
Um,
very close with my I'm very close with my aunt and uncle. My uncle was like the father that I never had.
so he stepped up and took over that role
Yeah,
while your father
definitely.
wasn't there.
Definitely, they
Um,
put a lot of effort into me and my brother. That's my dad's brother and his wife, and then they have 2 kids,
okay.
and the daughter their son doesn't really, like, he's older, much older. There's a big age gap between me and the son. He's in his 30s, I'm 19. So we don't really
Mhm,
have, like, a relationship with him because he's way older than us and he does his own thing, but my cousin, my female cousin, she's in her 20s, and we have a relationship with her. I adore her. They've all put a very big effort into our family. And to us, like, I just stayed at my aunt and uncle's back in October to go to a concert in Albany. Like, I'm very close with them, and when they're in Long Island, we always make time to see them.
so yeah, so the rest of your family had come together
Yeah.
to help, take care of you and your brother, and
Yes.
um so that kind of made up for some of the things that you might have missed with your father not being
Yeah.
around. Um, when he wasn't around, like, how did you keep track of him? Did you find out like what he was up to as you got
So
older? Like,
So when I got older, I had made a Facebook account, like a fake Facebook account. He does not know this, and I put it underneath my mother's name, and he accepted me thinking I was my mother. So at middle school, I used to keep track of him on a fake Facebook account that I put underneath my mother's name that I no longer have because I deactivated the account and made my own, and now I'm friends with him on Facebook. But that is how I kept
okay,
up with him, is under my mother's fake Facebook account that she did not know I made.
so you catfished him.
Yeah, and I used a profile
You,
picture of my mom too and everything. I really did it, and he really thought it was my mom. He used to message me too thinking I was my mom,
why did you want to keep track of him when you
'cause I was
were
just
at
curious to
that
know what
age?
was
Because he wasn't
happening.
trying to.
I was
Yeah.
just curious to know, like, what's going on because I feel like as his daughter, I should know what's going on with my dad, and he just
Hmm.
honest. But now that I'm friends with him on Facebook on my own account, it's really interesting because if he's in the hospital, he posts it on Facebook instead of telling his kids. So it's like stuff like that that I'll find out now. Like, oh, I found out he was getting surgery for his arm on Facebook. He never told me or my brother or my mom because he's supposed to be in touch with my mom because of my brother.
Hmm.
No, nah, nah.
It seems like he does it like he's just like totally checked out of your life. Like he just,
Yeah. He just does whatever
just
he wants. He comes and goes as he pleases, as I say. He just comes and goes, like, when he wants to. Now that he's sober, he's doing much better. It's just, like, when I see him, it's like he doesn't say anything to me. He doesn't talk to me. Like, he wants nothing to do with me. So it's like I'm like, "Okay."
It seems strange that he's not trying to repair the relationships that he's damaged, especially if he's sober. I mean, if he's in like a 12-step program, I mean, part of that is making amends.
Yeah. Well,
It's
the
it's
issue is
apologizing to
that
the people
I
that you've
had,
hurt.
there's a reason why I had freaked out to him on the phone, telling him that all he does is lie to me, and I've taken several breaks from him, so I think he's at the point where he knows that I've just when he was ready to be honest with me, he can talk to me, but I think that he thinks I'm gonna freak out on him again.
Fair enough. Do you
Yeah,
do
'cause,
you think he'll ever pursue um any type of relationship with you and your brother? Like you said, you did
he
say
has
that
one with
he
my
does
brother.
talk to your brother.
He does
Yeah,
talk to my brother. They text and everything, and actually okay, this really pissed me off. He texted my brother and said, "I'm sorry for everything I've done to you and that I wasn't in your life earlier."
but he didn't send that to you.
No, I didn't get a text. I didn't get a text. So that really pissed me
Wow.
off. Like, you're gonna text my brother and not me? Like, I'm older and been the one dealing with all this shit longer than he has. So it's like the
Yeah.
stuff like that he does. And honestly, I was wrong for freaking out on him, but also he's not honest with me. And I've just like, I feel like he's not honest with anybody. Me, my mom, my brother, nah.
Even in his sobriety, he's not honest. Like
Yeah,
I'd
even his
imagine
sobriety, he's not honest.
that's strange. I mean, usually when people find recovery, they start to make themselves a
Well, mind you,
better
my dad
person.
has some side effects from the drinking. He had a stroke, so he has some memory loss and some other mental issues that I'm not gonna get into.
Mhm.
I'm gonna leave that off the air, but he has
Yeah, yeah.
some other issues. So
Mhm.
that's partial reason to why.
Okay. It still has to be quite, hurtful that like he reached out to your brother and said, he's basically gave the
Well,
apology that,
one
that
second.
you deserve as well that you didn't get. Like, which just seems strange that he would apologize to one of you and not the other.
Sorry. I think my dad, sorry, that was my mom. My dad had texted me, I think last night. Really random. This was the first time I heard from him since Friday when I texted him telling my number was changed. He texted me, "Good night,
Mm.
I love you." Then, the last time I heard from him was Wednesday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, I love you. And then that was it. Nothing, just some messages in December when I found out he was in the hospital and his roommate had texted me.
So very
And then
spaced out.
it's spaced out. Then him randomly some nights he'll just text me, "Good night, I love you," but nothing else.
Nothing else. Does that upset you? Like, I mean, I'd
No,
imagine that would get you.
I'm to the point where I'm just used to it.
Yeah. So
I'm to the
it's
point
just
where I'm
part of
just
your life.
like, I'm gonna be so real. I have a very close relationship with my grandmother. She's like the
Mhm.
father I never had. I adore her. She can be a piece of work sometimes, but I think we all can. And mind you, she's almost 80 years old. And I'm very close with her because of him. I have a very tight relationship with my grandmother. So
Okay.
I'm okay where
Y
it is, honestly. He stresses me out sometimes, so it's like better.
Better off not to
Yeah.
to 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 fix that or to try to like, do you think ever later in life that if it presents itself, you'd be open to having a conversation with them to see if you could mend some fences, or
Uh,
are you just kinda
Not right
like,
now because
"I'll"
I'm temperamental, and I know with that's
Okay.
brought up, I'm gonna lose my temper because
Yeah.
I'm to the point where it's like, I don't we're good where we at type of thing.
Just leave it.
Just leave it where it is. Honestly, I'm 6 hours away at school. I hardly see him as it is.
Hmm.
So I'm just to the point where I'm like, it's whatever. He did text me and see if I was gonna be home if I could go see him. The thing is when I go to visit him, he doesn't even talk to me. He just sits there and stares at me the whole time.
You have no conversations about
No
nothing. He doesn't ask
conversations.
about what you're doing at school
No, I
or
talk to him
your
more. I'm better
podcast
off
or
talking to him on the phone. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm better off talking to him on the phone because he'll actually have a conversation with me, but in person, he doesn't say a
Oh.
word to me.
Do you think he's afraid to have a conversation with you? Do you think it's part of it is, like,
Oh,
fear
yes,
that
because
of
he
saying
knows that, I might get angry at him. Listen, I understand that he's
Mm.
a recovering addict, but it's also, like, he's done a lot to my family, so it's just like
Do you ever think, like, maybe, like, counseling
I've
session with
gone
him?
I've gone to counseling
Like,
with
are
him,
you
and the last time I went, he walked out and told me he wasn't fixing things.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's
Uh-huh,
kind
and
of
that was, like,
counterproductive,
a
isn't it?
a few years ago when he wasn't sober,
Hmm.
and, I don't have, like, a therapist that I go to in person, everything's via Zoom, and I don't wanna bring him with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess, some damage can never be undone, I guess. I mean, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's very receptive to the idea of it
No, and I'll
anyway.
also be very real, I have walked out on therapists who, like, force me to talk about my feelings. I'm very guarded, so I like the therapist that I have right now, she's much lenient with me.
Hmm.
I'm
Well, I
very picky
imagine you
about
just
who I'll go see and won't go see, I'm very picky when it comes to all this stuff.
yeah. Well, I imagine you're probably pretty, pretty guarded because of all the stuff that happened to you. You have to
Yeah,
usually, that type of trauma, you put up a lot of walls and barriers. And
yeah.
did it cause you any other like problems in life? I imagine like that type of trauma probably
I
causes
got
like some
diagnosed with
anxiety and
anxiety.
depression issues. And
I got, diagnosed with anxiety, trauma-based anxiety at the age of 6, and I've had anxiety ever since. I take medications for it and everything. I also have
yeah.
ADHD, but my dad has that too, and,
Okay.
I have a temper. I very bad temper that I definitely get from my father. Like, "You don't wanna piss me off. You don't." And I'm very, like, well-spoken. The temper runs in my family, though my brother has one too. So, not just me, my brother's is way worse than mine. Mom, if you hear this,
Hmm.
Mark's is worse. But, no, just, like, stuff like that. I feel like this has been a very valuable life lesson that I, like, will take into accountability now.
And you also don't drink. You don't drink now.
No,
You
I don't
chose.
plan on
Have you
it.
have you ever drank? Have you ever drank in your life?
I am only 19. I one time at a family party, my mother let me try alcohol, and I hated the taste of it. I'm only 19, though. I turned
Mhm.
20 this upcoming August, and when I turn 21, I don't plan on drinking. I actually, for my 21st birthday, I wanna go to Vegas and go gambling, that's it. I don't wanna drink, I wanna go gambling in Vegas. So, yeah, I don't plan on drinking.
You don't plan on drinking ever? You're just gonna
No.
Are you worried? Are you worried that it's like, because addiction runs in families, it's,
Yes, well, on my
it
dad's side, addiction runs in family, and I'm afraid I'm gonna get addicted, so I'm just not gonna drink.
yeah, because you don't know what kind of person you'll become either. It's just
Yeah, and I'm
very
too afraid to repeat my father's footsteps, so I don't plan on drinking.
well, it's really good. I mean, at least you're taking steps to protect your own future,
Yeah,
um, by not getting involved in it or taking the risk because you don't know what the future holds. You could drink and be fine and never do it again, or you could drink
yeah.
and turn into
I don't
the
wanna
same as your father.
I don't wanna become addicted to it also. I have this friend, listen, I adore him, but he's a very angry drunk and does the most stupidest things when he's drunk, like, okay, it was last week, my friend who drinks, he got really drunk, like, and he's, like, temper drunk, like, his temper's really bad, and leaked my number on everything, blacked out drunk. So I don't wanna be that type of person who gets, like, really angry when they drink, and I don't wanna drink.
I mean, that's a tough place to be, like, because you're going to school, you're going to college and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, well, I don't
that
go
is
out,
where
okay, so
everybody does it.
okay, wait. So if I go out, I'm gonna grab it. I have this cup that I bring if I go out, and then I put like soda in it. I call it my going out cup. And I have a
Okay.
refrigerator. I have a cabinet full of soda and then a refrigerator full of soda and like juice, like fruit punch, like non-alcoholic drinks that I put in this, and then I take that out with me.
Really? And
Yeah.
like, do people they don't ask you about it or anything? Or
No,
like, do they
no,
know, or
I'm just like,
the
I don't
people that know
drink.
you
I
know
don't
what's in it?
drink. I was like, I don't drink, and nobody knows that it's not nobody asks it, so nobody knows that I'm not drinking alcohol.
So you can pretend to be drinking anything you want, and
Wait,
then
wait, wait,
nobody
wait,
will ever
wait, wait,
know.
wait. So I have this whole cabinet right here, and it's full of soda. So I have like Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, Coca Cola. Then I have a fridge full of stuff. So that's what I do when I go out.
You fill up your big cup and you just
I
take
fill up my
it.
big cup, and
That's I
nobody knows
mean,
I'm not drinking alcohol.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Good for you.
that's you. My mom finds that very impressive, and I'm like, I don't know. I like being sober. I don't like the feeling of being hungover. I've never felt that feeling, but I don't want to feel it.
No,
So
you don't. You don't wanna feel it. Yeah,
no. So I do
you're
that.
better off.
I also have a used liter of soda over there, and then I have Hawaiian Punch in my refrigerator that I have mixed. So I get from the dining hall. They make like the cherry puree. So I filled it up in a
Okay.
cup and then I pour it into like Hawaiian Punch. It sounds disgusting, but it's so good. And I do the same with Coca-Cola. I'll get regular Coca-Cola and then I'll go to the dining hall and fill it up with a like cherry puree. And then I have cherry Coke. So I do that too.
Oh, okay. But so and like literally nobody knows. Nobody asks you during the night, like, "What are you
No,
drinking? Can I
nobody
get
knows
you a
I'm not
drink?"
drinking. My school also has a policy that kids are allowed to be sober here on campus. They can live in their own like residential living and everything. So my
Mhm.
school has a policy that there are some kids that don't drink here, so nobody questions it.
You know what? That is great. You don't have to feel any of that peer pressure or any of that
No, and if someone
nonsense where
offers me
people
a
are
drink,
like,
I'm
"Oh, have
just
a
like,
drink."
if someone offers me a drink, I'm like, I don't drink. I don't drink. I'm like, I'm okay. And what I
Good
do,
for
if you're wondering
you.
how I do refills in the middle of the night, I bring like a purse with me and I keep cans of soda in it, and then I just fill it up with a cup.
Hey, you just fill it up.
Yeah, I have like a big purse that I carry with me. Like, okay,
Yeah.
so I'll use an example. It's not the best example, but like if I'm going out somewhere, I have a fake Chanel bag that I bought off of eBay, and I just
Oh,
fill it.
yeah.
I just open it and I put like cans of Coke in it or something, like the mini cans.
Yeah.
So that's how I do
Hey,
it.
whatever works.
Yeah, that's the trick. If you don't want to drink at a college party, bring a cup and fill it with soda.
But yours is like a nice cup that's like a
Yeah.
like one of those insulated ones, right? Like
No,
that's
I actually had told my mom that I needed the cup and had it mailed up, but little did she know that I take it out with me. She thinks I use it in my dorm room.
and you just take it everywhere with you.
I take it everywhere with me.
You
Or
should get it put on you should get it put on a necklace, like a beaded necklace. You could just hang it around your neck.
well, I also use it at my dorm room when I want to put stuff. I think I have 2 of them, so my other cup is full of like 2 days old lemonade that I have to dump out. But
Nice.
I I carry it with me, and then if I bring a coat with me, I always bring a coat when I go out. People think I'm crazy, but I don't like the feeling of being cold, so I stick it in the coat pocket.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
and
very
being
good.
from Long Island, from where all the bars are at and everything, I don't have a fake, by the way. I've never been to the bars. I do not have a fake ID. Um, but I drink. I just bring my cup if I go to like a party or something.
Yeah. So you don't find it hard being a young person and not dealing with the alcohol and stuff like that. You're okay with
No,
that.
I'm okay with that
Are your
because I
friends okay with it?
yeah, my friends are pretty chill. Like most of my friends from home know that I do not drink. I have one who is fully convinced that I drink, but I do not. He's just crazy. I call him crazy because he is. But like everybody else knows that I don't drink and is respectful of that. I don't smoke either. I do not like the smell of weed. I get so
Mm.
nauseous and sick anytime I smell weed, so that I don't smoke. And then I don't vape because I tried it one time and got a splitting headache from Nick. So I just don't want that fucking like migraine again. So I don't smoke,
Yeah.
I don't drink, and I don't vape.
Very
And my
straight
friends are
edge.
very
Very straight edge.
respectful of that. The only issue I've had is I've had some kids come into my house and smoke in my bathroom, and my bathroom smelled like lead. So that was the only issue I've had. If you've done that, never do that again. The only thing is, okay, if you're like a close friend of mine and you come over and ask me if you can hit your vape, my deal is if you hide it in your sleeve like this and don't puff it out into my living room, you can do it. That's the one
Yeah.
deal I have with like my friends who are like graduated from high school
Yeah.
with who are like adults now. I'm like, if you have to vape, just do it like this, so my mom doesn't see it. I had one friend actually sit in my living room hitting her vape like this because she asked me nicely, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And my mom walked in, and my mom didn't even realize she had the vape in her sleeve.
Do you think vaping is a problem? Like, do you think that's like going to become like a big problem in the world?
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
actually
it
had a
already
friend.
is.
I had a friend today who went up to me because I got a brand deal. Like Ripple had reached out to me to send me products, and it's like if you want to quit vaping. And I have a friend who needs to quit, who wants to quit.
Mhm.
So he's gonna try the products and tell me if they work or not, and then I'm gonna write a review for them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
vaping is a
I
problem.
feel like that's like the next thing is vaping. Vaping's like this
Yeah,
big
I
thing.
feel like
Like we traded in all our cigarettes for vapes.
I feel like vaping can be addicting. I know a couple people who are trying to quit right now, and they said it's so hard. They got like the
Yeah.
nicotine-free vapes, and then they got this vape. It has like a timer on it, so you can only hit a certain amount of puffs a day.
How crazy is that though?
It's
Like that
crazy.
it's only been a couple years and they're already making vapes with timers. Like That's
Yeah, I think it's
crazy.
insane. I also think weed is a big thing. I had a friend come up to me today actually who said last night they got so high that they threw up everywhere.
Okay. I mean,
They got so high that they, like, greened out, and I was like, "Great." 'Cause it's my friend's roommate, I have class with him, and I, like, walked back to my
mhm.
dorm with him, he said to grab something, and I was just like, "Great." He's also the one who wants to quit vaping, and I was like, "I'll get you the stuff from Ripple when I get it sent to me."
I feel like quitting vaping is very my wife vapes, so,
Uh-huh,
but she quit smoking. She quit smoking to
uh-huh.
start vaping. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm just like, "Well, if you quit it, like, aren't you just supposed to stop doing it?" Like,
Well,
I quit
okay,
drinking,
quitting vaping
and I
is
didn't
very
drink
hard.
again.
Like, quitting
Yeah.
vaping is so hard, it's an addiction. I have, one friend who literally be in math class like this, hitting his vape while the teacher is teaching.
L
It's like an
People are
addiction,
doing it
and like,
everywhere.
I don't get the point of it. To help my, because I have anxiety, so instead of for
Mhm.
me, instead of vaping, I chew gum, like, suck on lollipops. I, like, drink a lot of water, that's, like, my key to help it. I just
Mm.
drink so much water that I don't feel the need to hit a vape because I don't vape, obviously, but
Yeah, but it's like it's that idea of so, like, people were like that was the invention of the vape was like, "Okay, we'll give
one
you
second,
this."
I just wanna grab my water. I saw you grab yours. I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait,
Yeah.
I want my water." Sorry, 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 sorry,
That's
sorry,
alright.
sorry, sorry.
But like I was saying, like, the idea of the vape was like this it was this big thing that was gonna help all these people quit smoking, but it's
Mhm.
just started people vaping.
I
It
think it's
didn't make
addicting.
anybody quit nobody quit anything. They just
Yeah,
started doing something else.
I feel like the nicotine in it's so addicting. I feel like if you're gonna quit, try to quit and actually go through with it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
also think,
quitting
like,
is quitting.
smoking weed, there's this kid who I go to college with, I'm not gonna name drop him, but he gets blacked out, high, and drunk every single night, like, he'd be throwing up in garbage cans on the side of the road. He came into my room one time and threw up everywhere. It was disgusting. He was so drunk that it's just like, and he was high at the same time, that I feel like weed is a big thing. I know it's like a stress reliever, but also, like, have you seen the
But
things that weed does?
do you think it's the weed mixed with the alcohol and not just the weed?
It's the weed. Well, even when he's super high, he gets really sick. When he doesn't drink and he's just high, he gets super sick too.
That seems odd that he's getting sick from like, what's he smoking? Like,
No clue. I don't know what
that
he's
seems a bit
smoking.
intense.
No, I
That
don't know
seems a
what he's
bit
smoking.
intense.
But, like, when he gets high and drunk together, it's a horrible thing. Or I had a friend who got super high, like, really, really high last night and threw up everywhere.
I mean, if you're drinking and smoking, that's
Yeah.
basically
He was
common. That's what
No,
happens.
my friend last night wasn't drinking, he was just smoking.
I'd love to know what the hell they're smoking that they're throwing up so much. I smoked in my past, and
Mm,
the only time I ever threw up was the first time I smoked, and I was drunk, and I smoked, and I drank a 40, a big 40
mm,
ounce, the whole thing, chugged it
uh-huh,
because I got cotton mouth really bad, and then I sat for about 15 minutes and watched this. It was like a DVD screen, you know, like when you put a
uh-huh.
DVD on and it just kind of goes to like this blue screen and the thing just bounces around on the screen for about 15 minutes and then I threw up everywhere, projectile vomited, and it was horrible. And I never did that again because
Yeah.
that was
I don't
shit.
I don't smoke or drink. I just don't like that feeling, and I don't wanna feel that feeling, so I don't. The only time that
Do
I
you
had gotten high was I got handheld high at a concert. At a concert. I went to a Boogie with the Hoodie, and the whole arena reeked like weed, and I was in the
so
pits,
you got a contact?
so I got a contact high at a concert, and I did not
Yeah,
like that feeling. I was so sick the next day from it.
really?
Yeah, my
It was
body
that
reacted
strong?
it was that strong that I felt so sick the next day. So, I wasn't smoking, by the way, that night, guys, just to clarify. I got hands held high. So, never again.
Okay. So what are your feelings towards alcohol? Because it's caused a lot of trauma in your life?
So, like,
Like,
I
what
get that, like, people drink to have fun, but, like, the whole, like, addicting, like, just, like, be careful. I don't really know how to explain it, just be careful when you're drinking, and don't drink just to get drunk, 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 drunk. Like, having 1 drink is fine, but, like, having, like, 8 drinks is a little
do you
excessive.
feel do you feel like that's a culture, though? Like, it's a culture thing? Like, that's what
Yeah,
people do?
I
Do you
feel
know
like
what I
that's what
mean?
people
Like,
do, but I feel like there's a smart way to be safe and still drink, but be safe at the same time.
see, I feel like uh I could never be that person who just, has 1 or 2. And, like, I had friends that, like, that's what they did. They just had a couple beers, got a buzz, and stopped, and I could never understand it. Like, my mind just couldn't figure that out. And, that's kinda like, later on when I got sober and stuff like that, I kinda look back and was like, "Shit."
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the problem, is that you can't just have 3 and then be like,
That's
"Nah,
what
I'm
I'm
good."
afraid is gonna happen to me because of the addiction gene running in my family, and that's why I
Yeah.
chose not to drink.
I mean, it's not just like it's weird because, like, people, like, with alcohol, yeah, like, people will say, "Oh, you're not an alcoholic unless you're, physically addicted to the alcohol." Like, there are some people that become physically addicted. Their body won't function without it. They have to wake up and start drinking. And
Yeah.
there are other people that have a bad relationship with alcohol where they can't seem to figure out how to, like, moderate their consumption. Um, so, like, I feel like a lot of people fall into the category of, "I can't moderate. I don't know how to figure that shit out." Like, I can't just have a couple drinks and enjoy myself. I have to get blackout drunk. I have
Yeah.
to do something stupid. I feel like that's a lot of people get into that zone where they're like binge drink, where they drink a shit ton and throw
Yeah.
up, and then, like, because that's kind of like what they're used to, or that's what all their friends are doing, or that's what
Yeah.
everybody's doing, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's like this? Do you think the same thing? Like, there is a big difference, and I think
Yes.
culturally, I think
There's
people
a big
kind of fall
difference.
into those two categories.
There's a very big difference, I definitely agree with you.
Um, so when your dad was drinking, like, he was still working as a nurse that whole time.
I gonna be so
That's
yes, he
terrifying.
was. Yes, it is absolutely terrifying. All I'm gonna say is that I was very young, so I was not involved in the whole working and drinking thing as much as my mother
Mm,
was. So I don't know a lot of details except the fact that he's been fired from many different places.
okay. Well, that meaning that he's probably shown up drunk and they've probably smelled the alcohol on him and then told him to
Yeah,
get the hell out of there, which is, I
yeah.
mean, good, like, that it was being spotted, but dangerous that he was even
I just
attempting to
wanna
go
know
to
how
work as
okay,
a
I'm being so
nurse.
real with you. I wanna know how he got his nursing license. That is so scary to me. And he just got it back. Now that he's sober, he just got his nursing license back recently, and I'm just like, "How?"
Do you worry that he'll relapse again?
I'm afraid of him working is gonna cause him to relapse again.
Do you think that's what caused him to drink in the first place, was work, or do you think it was
No, so I can't get into details, but it was, like, family stuff that had happened that caused him to start drinking that I don't wanna
okay.
bring to the internet because it is,
Mhm.
like, some of my
Yeah, yeah,
private
yeah.
business, but,
Yeah.
I feel like the stress of work will cause him to drink again. He's currently on full permanent disability leave, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Mm, okay. So, because your relationship is so strange, do you feel like are you are you rooting for him to stay sober? Like, do you
Yes,
have,
I'm
like,
rooting
any,
for him
like,
to stay
do
sober.
you want him to stay clean? Like,
I want him to stay clean 100%. I'm gonna be so honest with you. He, he had a very bad stroke back in 2019 that was caused from drinking. So if he drinks again, it could
mm,
cause him to have a stroke and like die, and I don't
and
want that to
die, yeah.
happen. So I would really like I'm rooting for him to stay sober.
That's good. At least you, can put the trauma aside and still want him to kind of, like, to stay sober, even if it doesn't, fix your relationship ever, but
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't, relapse and, die, because that would
yeah,
be not great, would it? That won't
yeah.
be good.
Yep.
Um, so Do you talk about this at all on your podcast? Like,
Yes, I
do you
do.
speak
I
about
don't
things?
okay. My mother's very, like, strict about me speaking on this, so I tend to do it on
Yeah.
other podcasts and then don't tell her. But, yeah, I talk about it on mine till I get yelled at. But, yeah, I do.
Okay.
I
Okay.
am very open about it on mine.
Yeah. What do you think? So, like, what's an important message about addiction that you'd like to get out there for people
Don't
to
drink
hear and understand?
don't drink just to fit in. If you have an issue with it, do other things like what I'm doing, mix soda and put it in a freaking water bottle and just take that. Like, there's other ways to fit in without drinking.
Be brave enough to say no.
Yeah, be brave
You
enough to
know,
say no. It's okay to say no to a drink.
so it's okay to say no to drugs as well. It's okay to say
Yes.
no to all that shit.
Yes,
You have
absolutely.
no idea the effects it can have on your life, and not just
Yes.
your life. I mean,
Anybody's life.
your father's choices have affected you, your brother, your mother, and
Yes.
then, his mom,
His side of
his
the
dad.
family.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big, people just look at the addict, but it's also everybody that surrounds them because they become
Yes.
a different person and they do shitty things and they lie and they continue
Yes.
to lie and they do things to not intentionally hurt anybody, but to just keep the addiction going, right? So it is
Yes.
an important thing to like think about all the other people that are affected by the choices that you're going to be making
Yeah,
if you are addicted.
definitely.
Um, so is there anything else you'd like to talk about on the
No, I'm good. Thank
podcast?
you for having me on.
Well, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Also, I usually do a thing at the end here where I ask, usually it's a person in recovery, and I usually ask them like three things that they need in their recovery every day,
Okay.
to stay in recovery.
Yeah.
And I know you're not in recovery, but you have a great tip, which is the drink glass. Like if you don't want to
Yeah.
drink, like if you don't want to drink somewhere and you
Just
go
mix it
out,
with soda. Wait, I
just
actually
take
have
a
an example. I
glass.
think I have stuff left over in a cup. 1 minute. Okay, so this is my other
Just
cup that I got from my work. They gave me a cup, and it has 3 days old lemonade in it. I really like if you can see. I don't want to like pour it out, but it has something in it. So yeah.
Yeah, just get a cup, take it out, and honestly, listen, nobody questions Amanda. Nobody will question you. And if they
Nobody.
do, just be like, "Oh, I already got a drink in there."
Yeah, and it's anything, guys. I make the most weirdest things. I mixed lemonade and soda together one time. That was really good. I mixed Dr. Pepper and Coke together, like Coca-Cola together. I make the weirdest concoctions and just stick it in there and drink it.
So you found a great way to stay sober and go to college and not have to deal with the pressure of being
Yeah,
at school and being pressured to do things you don't necessarily want to do. So good for you on that. That's really cool that
yeah.
you're doing that. Um, no, I appreciate you coming on and sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. I know that's a tough thing to do, is to talk about, you know, past traumas and stuff in your life. So I think it's really brave of you to come on and
Thank
share.
you.
I appreciate your time. And yeah, thank you very much for
Thank
being on
you.
the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Me and my boys going crazy in 23. Like MJ, but we ain't never gonna fade away. We ain't never gonna fade away. Me and my boys going crazy in 23. Like MJ, but we ain't never gonna fade away. We ain't never gonna fade away. Me and my boys going crazy in 23. Like MJ, but we ain't never gonna fade away. We ain't never gonna fade away. Oh no, oh no. Me and my boys going crazy in 23. Like MJ, yeah. We ain't never gonna fade away. We ain't never gonna fade away. Oh no, oh no. Me and my boys going crazy in 23. Yeah, like MJ, but we ain't never gonna fade away. We ain't never gonna fade away. Me and my boys going crazy in 23. Yeah, like MJ, but we ain't never gonna fade away. We ain't never gonna fade away. Oh no, oh no. Me and my boys going crazy.